Think for a moment. If the United States and Russia, the two most heavily armed nations on Earth, ever slipped into an atomic confrontation, what would happen? Would one side dominate? Would one collapse instantly? Or is the truth far more frightening that in a nuclear war, there is no such thing as victory at all? This is the fear that keeps global leaders awake at night. The question that ordinary people whisper about but never truly understand. The moment those missiles leave their silos, the countdown to the end of modern civilization begins, and no superpower can escape the destruction that follows. To explore whether Russia can truly compete with the United States in an atomic war, we have to peel back the layers of political noise and look straight at the brutal reality of nuclear strategy. Russia boasts of unstoppable hypersonic missiles, claiming they can dodge anything America puts in the sky. The United States counters with the world's most advanced satellite detection systems, global radar networks, and nuclear submarines quietly moving beneath the oceans, ready to respond from anywhere on the planet. Both countries possess thousands of warheads, enough to destroy continents and plunge the world into decades of nuclear winter. And yet, despite all this power, neither nation can strike without facing unimaginable retaliation. That is the chilling logic of mutually assured destruction, the idea that if one fires, both perish. This balance of horror is what has kept the world relatively stable for decades, even through tensions, conflicts, and political showdowns. But make no mistake, the technology is fast, the warnings are short, and the consequences are permanent. If these two powers ever unleash their arsenals, cities would vaporize within minutes, economies would collapse in hours, and the environment would suffer for centuries. The question isn't whether one can outmatch the other, but whether humanity itself could survive the aftermath. As we uncover the strategies, strengths, and weaknesses of both nations, one truth becomes crystal clear. An atomic war is not a competition. It is a shared destruction from which neither the USA nor Russia could ever emerge as a winner. Russia's nuclear presence is built on a strategy of overwhelming force and unpredictability. Unlike many nations that rely on fixed bases, Russia spreads its missiles across forests, remote regions, underground bunkers, and strategic mobile launchers designed to vanish within minutes. This makes it extremely difficult for any enemy to destroy Russia's nuclear capability in a single strike. The country also focuses heavily on new generation weapons such as hypersonic glide vehicles, which travel at incredible speeds and maneuver unpredictably, making them almost impossible to intercept. Meanwhile, Russia's submarine fleet constantly patrols beneath the oceans, ensuring a guaranteed counterattack even if land-based missiles are destroyed. This combination of mobility, secrecy, and advanced technology creates a nuclear posture built on survival and retaliation. For Russia, the goal is simple. If attacked, it must be able to respond with enough force to devastate any enemy, no matter how powerful. The United States approaches nuclear strength with a different philosophy, relying on precision, advanced technology, and global reach. America has the most sophisticated early warning and detection systems on Earth, capable of spotting missile launches within seconds. Its nuclear triad, land-based missiles, strategic bombers, and stealth submarines ensures that no first strike could ever eliminate all capabilities. What sets the US apart is its command and control network, which uses satellites, encrypted communication, and real-time tracking to coordinate a response faster than any other nation. American submarines roam the world's oceans silently, carrying warheads powerful enough to flatten entire regions. Meanwhile, the US Air Force maintains bombers that can take off at a moment's notice, supported by some of the most advanced missile defenses ever created. Instead of brute force alone, the United States relies on speed, intelligence, and precision to maintain its nuclear dominance. If Russia and the United States ever collided in a nuclear confrontation, the result would be pure devastation on both sides. Neither country could launch a perfect surprise attack, even if one struck first. The other would still have submarines hidden underwater and missile bases capable of launching devastating retaliation. This is why experts call it mutually assured destruction. Entire cities would be erased in minutes. Millions of lives would be lost before the world even understood what happened. Beyond the immediate blasts, firestorms would consume regions, radiation would poison the environment, and the global climate could collapse due to nuclear winter. Crops would die, temperatures would fall, and nations far from the conflict would struggle to survive. There is no scenario in which either the USA or Russia walks away victorious. A nuclear war is not a competition of power, it is mutual suicide. Despite all the power and weaponry, what truly stops a nuclear war is not fear but logic. Both nations know that crossing the nuclear line ends their existence. This understanding forces them to maintain communication even during tense moments. Hotlines between military commanders, communication channels between presidents, and international monitoring systems all work quietly behind the scenes to prevent misunderstandings that could trigger catastrophe. Every missile test, every military exercise, and every political move is carefully watched because a single misstep might be interpreted as preparation for war. Diplomats, security experts, and intelligence agencies on both sides constantly analyze the other's actions to avoid accidental escalation. The world's safety depends on this fragile balance. It is not trust that keeps peace. It is the shared fear of irreversible destruction, and the knowledge that restraint is the only sane path. Modern technology makes nuclear conflict even scarier. Missiles are faster, targeting is more precise, and the time between detection and impact can be just a few minutes. This gives world leaders extremely limited time to verify threats before responding. Artificial intelligence systems, automated warning networks, and early detection radars reduce reaction time but also increase the risk of false alarms. A glitch, a misreading, or a computer malfunction could trigger panic and force leaders to make decisions in seconds. Meanwhile, hypersonic weapons blur the line between conventional and nuclear attacks, making it harder for analysts to know whether an incoming missile carries a warhead or not. As technology evolves, the margin for error becomes smaller. Ironically, more advanced weapons do not make the world safer. They make it more vulnerable to catastrophic mistakes that could start a war neither side intended. The final and most important truth is simple. In an atomic war between Russia and the United States, there is no winner. Both nations would fall, the global economy would collapse, and humanity would face its darkest era. But the story doesn't end with fear. It ends with understanding. Knowing the consequences is what keeps nuclear war from happening. The power these countries hold is terrifying, but the responsibility they share is enormous. Their rivalry may continue, their tensions may rise, but the one line neither side wants to cross is the nuclear threshold. This is why the world must continue pushing for diplomacy, communication, and reduction of nuclear risks. Because when the stakes are this high, survival is the only victory anyone can hope for. In the end, the question isn't really whether Russia can compete with the United States in an atomic war. The truth is far darker. Once the first missile is launched, competition disappears, strategy collapses, and humanity pays the price. Both nations know this. Both understand that crossing the nuclear line guarantees mutual destruction, not victory. And that knowledge, not fear, not power, is what has kept the world from plunging into the unthinkable. As viewers, as citizens of this planet, it's important to understand the reality behind the headlines and political tensions. Nuclear weapons are not symbols of strength, they are reminders of how fragile life truly is. The more we learn, the more we realize that survival is the only outcome any nation should seek. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay aware, and never stop questioning the forces that shape our world. The future depends on it.